Week 4 Sunday Night Football brings us two historic franchises facing off as the Green Bay Packers fly down to Dallas to take on Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan. We're going to break down this Week 4 Sunday Night Football game and provide our predictions at the very end of the video. So be sure to leave a comment. Let us know who you think is going to win and why. And hit that subscribe button to get notified when new videos come out. And Ryan, two tough losses for both of these teams. One was definitely more shocking than the other as the Green Bay Packers
Oh yeah.
lost to the Cleveland Browns somehow, 13-10, giving up 13 points in I think the final 3.5 minutes. I would say game
Yeah.
had them in the bag, but then Jordan Love threw a very costly turnover with about 2 minutes left, and then Browns went down and scored, and then they even blocked the field goal as well too. Before then going down, and the Cleveland Browns were able to kick a last second field goal to win the game. Dallas went into Chicago and ran into a buzzsaw, and Chicago Bears, maybe this Ben Johnson offense is finally coming around with Caleb Williams as well. But biggest loss, though, I think for Dallas was the fact that CeeDee Lamb got hurt with what is most likely a high ankle sprain, so he might be out for a couple of weeks. Tests are still coming in, so that still needs to be determined as the week goes on as we're recording this. But big loss just in general for that Dallas Cowboys team. But I'm not too concerned overall long term. I even actually think I have some positive hopes for the Cowboys after watching that game. On the offensive side of the ball, defense sucks. Defense, but it's going to be is really bad. But in general, though, I can see over these next couple of years these Cowboys getting back to that dominant form, and I'm going to kind of break into that a little bit. But Ryan, want to throw it over to you here. Green Bay, obviously, kind of a shocking loss. They were in complete control of that game. I was
Yeah.
even thinking before, like the kind of the collapse over the final couple minutes, talking about how like, hey, even going into Cleveland winning 10-0 in the NFL, I wouldn't be too concerned as a whole, just because this Cleveland Browns defense is still really good. However, when you lose the game, though, it's kind of hard for me to talk about that. But they did end up having a couple of injuries as well, too. Right tackle Zach Tom and Aaron Banks, their left guard, both left the game in the first half as well, which I think also stymied some of their overall ability to protect Jordan Love and kind of get the overall game going. But want to throw it over to you here. What are your thoughts kind of on Green Bay, even including this game, then also then Dallas as well, too?
Yeah. Green Bay, in my opinion, did like the typical, oh, we're playing Cleveland pseudo bye week. Like we'll show up, we'll do what we do. We don't really need to game plan. And then they got out 10-0, and then they just lost focus there in the last 5 minutes and just gave it away. Two terrible turnovers, and then the blocked field goal was just bad, like just bad
Yeah.
football. So I think they'll come back and they'll be better. They'll know they'll have to gear up for this game. And yeah, Matthew Golden had a couple catches. Like this offense is still doing what it was doing. It just didn't uh, convert into points this week. And so I think flipping over to Dallas, this offensive line is I'm actually fairly impressed with in how they've been running the ball and how they've been protecting Dak Prescott in the passing game. I think that is a big improvement over last year, which where this offensive line was just not good.
Yeah.
So I think that is something to hang your hat on if you are a Cowboys fan. Um, Receiver room, you get what you get with George Pickens. That was the most George Pickens play I think I've ever seen on his touchdown catch. He literally quit on a route and then made a one-handed catch to secure the touchdown. And so CeeDee Lamb, yes, that is unfortunate. It's not a season-ending injury, but I do think, yeah, he probably will miss 2 to 4 weeks with that. But yeah, and Javonte Williams, like they have some weapons on there. The defense is really bad. I will say against the run, they're not terrible. I'm trying to pull up the stats here, but I remember seeing, let's see, rushing yards allowed. Go A to Z. I might be eating my words here, but
They give up.
shoot.
I mean, today they only gave
I
up
guess they're
15.
right on average. They're 17
Yeah, but their
in the
passing
league.
game though, their passing
Yeah,
defense is the issue, and that's we don't have to talk too much about their passing defense because there's not too much to talk about positively.
they're the
But
second worst passing defense in the league.
yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're first by the end of the year, or worst, like by the end of the year. But I think what I was going to say, and you're kind of alluding to my point here, how I started off the video was, and this offensive line is young. And so Cooper Beebe, their center that they drafted a couple years back, he actually, I think it was last year. He is unfortunately on IR. He's going to be missing a couple of weeks. But in general, though, you have him. You've got Tyler Guyton, who has been playing well. Your first round pick from last year, Tyler Smith, your first round pick from 2022. You got Tyler Booker as well too, who everybody touted like he was top one or top two interior offensive lineman in this draft. I think he actually was the first. Was he taken before Gray Zabel? He was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was. So, and then you have Terrence Steele there still as well in the right tackle. And this kind of goes back to where it's obviously tough to let go of Micah Parsons, but I think you're going to need to pay these guys, over these next couple of years so you can solidify this offensive line. And because you've got Dak Prescott, you've got your CD Lamb, you can go and get as we're seeing now as well too. If when you have a good offensive line, you can put anybody back there in the backfield. And so you have Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, all these guys who were like like a part of the island of misfit running backs that they were just bouncing around. Now actually having a good season so far and able to fit into this system.
Yeah.
I think that's where if you have a good offensive line, you can put anybody back there really, and they can be successful. Now it sucks that CD Lamb is probably going to be hurt but I think one of the positives though is you did start to see some more development with Dak Prescott, George Pickens. Hopefully that can stay on for a long time, and I think this offense is going to be something to be reckoned with. They're to win games. They're going to have to score 30 plus points. Going to have to be almost like Joe Burrow and the Bengals were last year because his defense is atrocious. I think that's where we're going to have to monitor the Packers' just health overall. But I think in general, though, I think the Packers should have plenty of opportunities to put up points and put up a bunch of yards against this team with oh shoot, what's the head coach? Matt LaFleur's
Yeah.
offensive scheming and how he's able to scheme guys open. I think Jordan Love and this team could pick apart defenses very similar to what we saw in that 2023 playoff game where the Packers went in there and just stomped all over the Cowboys defense. I think it could be something similar to that where it could be a very high scoring game, but we're just gonna have to monitor the defense as a whole. Even with the offensive line issues, it's not really like this. The Cowboys have been getting after the quarterback too well. Ironically, because they trade Micah Parsons, but I think
Yeah.
it's the necessary evil they have to deal with as of right now. But to me, when I go and look at this game, Sunday Night Football, I might think about changing this pick depending on just the injury status of everybody. But I just think this Packers offense should pick apart this Dallas defense, and there's enough. There's enough on the defensive side of the ball, and their Packers pass rush is significantly improved with a big offseason trade that they made for Michael Parsons, this is his homecoming.
Yeah.
Obviously, since we haven't even talked about it yet up to this point, but I think they're going to be able to get after the Cowboys offense enough to slow them down, and I think the Packers offense, barring injuries, should be able to move the ball pretty effectively down the field. And because also too as well, and no offense to the Bears offense, but we've seen the Bears offense stutter, and be inconsistent. Now you do have a new head coach in there, but still though, there's enough out there. There's about a year and a half, or just shy of a year and a half of film of Caleb Williams being inconsistent, and they made him look really good today.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it's just another evidence that this defense is going to be poor this year. Not really anybody's fault from the coaching side. I just think there's not the talent as they're kind of going through this transition
Yeah.
there. So, but I'm going with Green Bay here in this one. I think in a high scoring Sunday Night Football matchup.
Yeah. I'm also going with Green Bay. I just think this team is better. Not just at the top of the roster. Like, I think I would take Jordan Love over Dak Prescott, and not to like start that debate, but this wide receiver room is really talented. Tucker Kraft, Jake Ferguson, both very good tight ends. But then you go look at like the defensive line and everything, and I just think the Packers are a more well-rounded team in that sense. And so I'm going to go with Green Bay here on Sunday Night Football. So let's go ahead. Let's wrap it up here. We are both taking the Packers in this matchup. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Will it be the Green Bay Packers? Will it be the Dallas Cowboys? None of that. We'll see you guys next time.